Kamala's struggle to win over men and Muslim voters by Sabby Sabs. Why do you think that is, Sabby? I'll tell you why. Men would rather be stabbed in the back than stabbed in the front. I'm going to repeat that. Men would rather be stabbed in the back than stabbed in the front. The Republican Party is just as male hostile as the Democrats, but they know enough to keep their male hostility behind a curtain. While the Democrats are open and in young men's faces. And that's why they're running to the Republican Party in the desperate hopes they might be considered, right? I'll even show you here. Look, have Democrats given up on men? This article. And they show women of all age groups and colors, white women up top for her. She's centered, of course, right? But no men involved. They even say so. And down here, here's the one line you should pay attention to. Conservatives were far more worried about how boys were faring in American society than girls. Liberals conversely expressed greater concern about girls than boys. There you go in a nutshell. The Democrats are openly saying, we are not going to consider you as a sex, other than in a negative way. That's why, right? And they haven't given up on the male gender. These Democrats want men's votes. They want their labors. They want their work. They want their time. They just can't help but saying they hate your guts at the same time and chases them away. Society is built on men's shoulders. That's just the fact of the nature of the case, that is, right? Now let's get in to see what you have to say.
Ahead of Kamala Harris. So keep that in mind. This is what I'm trying to tell people. She is underperforming when you compare her to Joe Biden and you compare her to Hillary Clinton.
Despite the stories we've been running about all the college kids signing up, and there is and Trump is doing in that group, he's doing better among younger men of color than you would expect.
Right.
That's right. The racist Trump is doing better with men of color. How ironic, but it isn't. Because these young guys know what they're up against isn't racism, but sexism. That's why, Sabby.
Right. And Kenny, the one thing that we have heard from the...
Matter of fact, let's get down here because they'll admit she also is losing white men too, right? 827 is also interesting, your reaction to it too, right? So let's get ahead of this. 27 right here.
Better among women and most young voters, but older white men, just like people thought after Biden left the race, more of a challenge, pulling them to vote against Trump again.
Yeah, I mean, older white men and actually to younger white men too, also a bit of a challenge. I mean,
so not only are young black men running to Trump, but so is older white men and younger white men. So just men in general. Why do you think they took this roundabout route of saying men are running to Trump away from Kamala? Because they don't want to have to admit this. That's why.
I mean, everybody heard that? So he said older white men, because they were, polling better for Biden or better for Donald Trump. Then she added also younger white men. So is Roland Martin and all the Democrat shills, are you guys going to come after white men the same way you attacked black men for not supporting Kamala Harris?
See, now that's your takeaway from this, Sabby? You're going to misdirect this to race like everybody else does? So your takeaway isn't wow, the Democrat Party is incredibly male hostile. No, your takeaway is, are they going to beat on white boys as bad as they are beating on the black boys over this? So you're misdirecting. That's your big takeaway. Now, they also admit finally, yeah, it's a gendered issue, 1029, right here. Let's get in.
So much resources into that, but it's men. I mean, I think the real struggle for the Harris campaign is young men, older men, men of color, white men, and they are doing all they can. You can see, I think,
there you go. So it's a gendered issue. It's not about race, Savvy. And these people, they just couldn't not tell the truth. The truth had to come out. So why didn't they just say men in general? Because they didn't want to admit it.
All men, honey. All men, honey. Not just black men, not just men of color, not just older white men. What did the pollster just tell you? Men. That's why she's trying to target women. That's why her and Oprah did the thing. And there was a lot of.
You've got the cart before the horse. It's not that she's doing bad with men, she's targeting women. It's that she's targeting women, and therefore she's doing bad with men. Because men know they're being excluded. You aren't the first person, Sabby, to get the cart before the horse.
To focus on women and what women want and all that kind of stuff, because she's struggling with all men. Now, there may be some men that don't support having a female president. That does exist. It does happen. Some men they just feel more comfortable having a man run the country. There's some.
Well, I do too, but for very good reasons, Sabby. Men worship women, and women have contempt for men. I'm going to repeat that too. Men worship women, and women have contempt for men. So when men get into leadership, they look after the women of the country. When women get in positions of authority, they destroy the men of the country. They go after the men of the country. And that's why male leaders will always be head and shoulders above any female leader. You see it in the Republican Party here, right? With them chasing the men away with their hostility. Okay? So we'll also look at this. This shows you that it's a gendered issue again. Obama blames black male voters.
Is a problem. LaShondra says Sabby don't like the educated. I am educated, Sabby. I mean, LaShondra. I said Sabby. I am educated, LaShondra. But I don't like this turning away from people who are poor, who are lower income. I'm so sick of them talking about gold.
This isn't about the poor. Because they just mentioned this is a gendered issue. If it was about being poor, then Trump wouldn't do better with men in general. Women would also jump to Trump if this was about being poor. No, this is about mate selection. Men have to gain wealth to bribe women into their lives. It's that simple. You see this big, bold smile this beautiful black woman has for Obama? She would love to be a mistress of Obama. She would bypass all these handsome young men to be with an elderly Obama who's top dog. That's what this is about. This is not about poverty. And I'll tell you why, too. You say it here, right? Let me see. What is the number one thing guys concerned about? Right? Economy and immigration. It's about men, right? Why is that? Because you women don't have to worry about getting employed. You are employed officially and unofficially. That is, you have quotas to get jobs. And two, there is a bias towards women. There's a preferential treatment for hiring women. Men want to hire women and women want to hire women. That's a fact. So it's done officially and unofficially. So immigration, for example, doesn't affect you women. A bunch of men coming in from another part of the world, taking up the jobs, you will still be hired. And also, you don't need to make up wealth to get a male partner. Men will scoop up a homeless woman rather than do without. Right? That's a fact. Now, what are the women concerned about, right? The women are concerned about abortion. Their right over life and death of other human beings. It's a power grab. And so they go to Harris. The fact that abortion, the women go for Harris, but they don't go to Harris for immigration and they don't go for economy, shows you that the economy and immigration isn't a part of women's worries. You girls want power over life and death. That's what you want. You want more power, and the men just want the ability to have a decent life and bribe women into their lives. Okay? Now, here's the other thing. I can't find it here, but I know one of these videos you talk about community. Sabby. Communities revolve around women. Women are the nucleus of the community. They decide what the community is. Okay? And you girls choose the winners. You girls choose. Where's Obama here again? I'll bring him back up. Yeah. You girls choose the winners. So you might prefer to have a black guy who's a winner as your partner. But if he's not a winner, you'll deselect him and choose another race of man as long as he's the winner. So if the white man's a winner, you'll partner up with him. If an Asian man's the winner, you'll partner up with him. And that's what the black community is to you. Again, see this pretty woman here? She would shack up with an elderly Obama as a side piece before she'd choose these young black men. That's where the black community goes. It goes to shit because women aren't interested in community. Or to be more precise, they place community beneath their own personal needs of shacking up with the top dog. So if the community has to die, so be it. So that's why I have to say about this. And that's why, Sabby, this is a gendered issue. That's why you see men of all races running to the Republican Party. Because the Republican Party will stab a man in the back, but the Democrats will stab them right in the front, right to their faces. That's all I need to say.